I'm Italian by ejaculation. You know how in dogs, when they have sex, they absorb some of the genes of the other breed for a couple cycles? That's how I'm Italian. Kayla, can I explain this?
Please. Welcome to the Love and Comedy Podcast, where two stand-up comics talk pursuing love while pursuing a career in stand-up comedy. Twist! Your comedian hosts happen to be married. I'm one of your hosts, Aurora Singh.
And I'm your other host, Drew Schaefer. And our topic for today is festivals.
Whoa, cool.
Coachella. Yeah. No.
Oh my God.
No. Burning Man. No, not that one. No, we're talking comedy festivals. Should you do them? When should you do them? Which ones are worth it? There's so much to cover.
Yes, and to help us answer some of these questions that we've gotten about festivals, we have Morgan Gallo with us.
Woo!
Yeah, Morgan started doing festivals. Morgan started doing festivals a year ago, and it has helped her a lot in her career. So we thought, who better to come on and talk about if festivals are worth it or not than someone who's taken advantage of them and use them, to push her forward. So I put in a note in here to say your credits, but I didn't put any credits.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction. I feel so well taken care of on this podcast already.
You've seen her at Big Pine Comedy Festival,
Yes.
Sacktown Comedy Get Down. What was it? Riot?
Yeah, Riot Comedy Festival.
Riot Comedy Festival.
She was killing it all over Florida, and then she was like, I gotta get out of this shit. And she just recently moved to Denver, and she's gonna start killing it there. You open for Jeff Ross, and you're gonna go on tour in the fall with Morgan J.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So those are pretty good credits. I didn't write the
also
credits,
have my
but
own podcast.
Oh, yes, and she has her own podcast called Let's Fight About It, which we will let you know. We'll just tell them right now. Where is it? What is it?
Let's Fight About It is a game show fighting style podcast that you can find anywhere you stream podcasts. We also have video episodes available on Spotify and YouTube.
Ooh, okay, go check it out.
Yes.
But let's get started.
Okay, so before we can dive into love and comedy, and before Aurora cries the rest of the podcast, Morgan, tell us, what's your relationship status?
I am currently in a committed relationship.
Ooh, scandalous.
And how long have you guys been together?
We just hit 7 months, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cute.
That's adorable. Have you guys moved in together yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was like,
No, they're taking it slow and they're taking it smart. That's
Yes.
what I say.
Yes. We moved in way too quick. It was 7 months for us, wasn't it?
You think
did?
it was too quick? I
Like
think it
9
was
months?
just enough
I mean,
time.
we're married, but yeah, I was like, we were just like, we can't afford rent. Let's just move in together.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, two broke fools fall in love and then you move in because you want to save money on rent.
Remember, I was looking at the apartment right below yours, and I was like, why would I rent the unit right below you if I'm just going to be in your apartment all the time?
Right.
So,
All right, back to Morgan.
Sorry. Back to Morgan. So you guys have been together 7 months, and what does he do?
He is a photographer.
Ooh.
And what does he photograph?
Comedy. Actually, let me retract that.
What?
He is the owner, CEO of his own company, Dude IDK Creative. That's what his official job title is. His photography is just one of the many things he does.
So what are some of the other things he does?
He does videography, he does social media consulting and content creation for several brands, and he helps produce a few comedy shows.
That's so cool.
So he's a mover, groover, shaker, and he photographs and films all of the things that he does, basically.
Yeah.
And he can help comics find, their brand a little bit, take pictures of them, build their brand up, give them a space to grow and develop. I mean, it sounds like a good guy to me.
Yeah, I think so.
He's pretty cool.
And you found a little catch.
I did.
Aww.
I caught him. Yeah, I was in the outfield. It's crazy.
She was waiting for the ball. It was in the sun. Yeah. She lost track of it for a second.
Yeah.
And how did you guys meet?
I did a comedy show last year in my hometown, Boulder, Colorado, and he was photographing that show. And then we kind of chatted a little bit. We DM'd a little bit afterwards. And what he likes to say is he got drunk and high at a Red Chili Peppers concert and then DM'd me his phone number and we've been texting and talking.
Wow.
Hot.
I like that.
Scandalous. We like it.
He was looking for some Californication. Oh, because Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, it's Red Hot. I said Red Chili Peppers, didn't I? Like
Is
a
it?
fucking loser.
I don't know. Do I know their songs?
No, I don't think you do.
You have to know at least. You have to know some of their songs.
Maybe
Yeah.
one's just like a classic.
Like
Just sing
Under
one
the
right
Bridge,
now.
like, don't they have the one? I don't ever wanna feel
Like I did that day, when in the days I love, take me on away.
Yeah, I think I know that one.
They're like the Foo Fighters, but different.
What
They
about
had-
that harmony though?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That
I'm
was
not even a
actually-
singer, and
I was
looked
just letting
over.
you guys do it because it just sounded good, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay for the copyright to that song. They're
Oh,
gonna sue us.
Shit.
No. Just because we hit the notes beautifully doesn't mean that the copyright's
It
gonna
was
catch
under
us.
30 seconds. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Loopholes.
Yes, we got him. That's so cool. Like that he just was photographer, like the photographer.
He was photographering.
He was photographering, yeah. And he's just like, yeah, I got a bunch of pictures of you. Can I keep some? Like, you're so pretty. And you're like, yes.
He did admit to me that like after that show, he spent way longer looking at my photos than any of the other comics.
Hell yeah.
And he sent me
Oh, yeah, he
50
did.
Like he sent me a lot of photos from the night. And he also offered to do headshots. So I was like, hell yeah.
Nice.
It was fun.
God, I just thought of so many sexual puns.
Me too.
And I just need to stop it.
Yeah, stop. No, that's so cool. And so he saw you do comedy then.
Yeah, he met me as a comedian.
That's cool. And you thought you were funny? He like was
Yeah,
super into it?
yeah,
Yes.
he did. I don't know if he was super into it, but I think he thinks I'm funny. Yeah.
Good. Did I come across wrong? I was like, he thinks you're funny? Is he the...
Well, what did he say when he when he first approached you? Was he
Well,
like,
he
oh,
didn't-
good set? Or
he
like,
didn't approach me. I went into the venue. I met everyone kind of sitting in the back, like the other comics, give everyone a high five, just kind of like, hey, I'm Morgan, I'm from Florida, whatever. And then after my set, he did come up and give me a high five and was like, good set. Like that was really good, so that was cool.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's really cute.
Yeah, I like that. Initiating physical contact.
Okay, we don't need
Stage
to
one
break
of
it
the-
down. It's not that serious. I don't think it's that
Aurora,
And then
serious.
he also watched me wolf down a falafel sandwich, and he will never let me forget it to this day. He's always like, I knew when I watched you body that sandwich that you were the one. Like, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Oh, I love that.
So our final background question. You travel a lot for comedy. What's been your favorite city to do comedy in and why?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
It is. And
God.
there's going to be 100 cities that are like, she didn't say us.
No, there's just it's hard to know what city is the best because I think I've had a lot of really fun shows that I've done that are a part of a festival or something. I will say I had a really fun time in Cleveland. Cleveland was really fun, which is not one that you would think of really. But I was part of a festival, so it was just really well put together.
What made it fun? What was it the people? Was it the venue? Were they just a hot crowd? Every crowd? What was it?
It was kind of a mix of everything. We had a lot of shows that were marketed really well. They weren't just, how sometimes you go to a festival. I know we'll get into this later, but sometimes you go to a festival and it's they just book a bunch of shows. And they don't really take the time to make each show unique. Cleveland had this really great one where it was a women in wine show where it was women and everyone got wine. And then there was one where it was another female show that was not a wine night, but something else, where it was kind of marketed towards women, it's a girls' night out type thing. And then there was another one that was part of the big kind of music hall, and there was bigger headliners. So I don't know, they just did a really good job of making each individual show work.
Okay, cool. So they put in time in to make sure that they had actual people there.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we been to a festival and then there's no one there and you're like,
Yeah, you're I'm so
Yeah.
glad I spent $400 to fly here.
Yeah.
and $600 for the hotel. This is so worth my time and money.
Yeah. I did one where, nobody showed up to one of the shows, just the comedians. So it was the comedians were like, this is a workshop now. And I was like, all right, I guess I spent all this money to workshop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll get into it for sure. We have some questions about love, obviously, because That's part of our podcast.
Wait, what is this podcast called?
I feel like I am drunk right now. I am so
You're
tired.
acting drunk. Yeah.
I know. Okay,
what did
let
you
me
guys
get
do at Costco
Let me get
today?
my life together for a second. Let me get my life together. All right, Morgan. We're gonna talk about. How do I usually start this section? What do we usually say when I start this section? Okay,
I love love.
Okay, well, we love love, and we love you, and you love your man and comedy.
Gross. What a disgusting thing to say.
Could you imagine if they had never said love before and you're just over here? You guys are so in love, clearly.
So we want to know, what was your first date like with your boyfriend? Can we say his name?
Sure.
His name's Nick. How was your first date with Nick? And what was it?
You know what? We had a very unconventional first part of our relationship because we were long distance. So he lived in Denver and I lived in Orlando for the first, honestly, like 7 months of our relationship. So our first date was honestly him coming to Florida for a few days. We had like a month of talking before that where he and I would FaceTime, we would call each other. Obviously I came here, like I was traveling for comedy and I was texting him, we were talking, and then he came down to Florida. I picked him up from the airport and the first thing we did was go to Chili's.
Yes.
Dude, Chili, like don't shit on Chili's. Chili's is amazing.
I will say, so I tried to sell him on Chili's, like, cause he had never been. So I was like, oh my God, Chipotle chicken crispers, chips and salsa, molten lava cake, margaritas.
Yes.
And we got there. Worst Chili's experience I've ever had. The food was disgusting.
No.
It came out kind of cold. It took literally an hour. Like it took way too long. It was not good at all. I felt so stupid.
It should never take an hour at Chili's. Everything is pre-made. You just put it in the microwave.
I know. That's what was disgusting.
The
So I was
margaritas are probably pre-made too. They probably just pour it in there. That's ridiculous.
Did you ever see the video that went viral at the start of the pandemic? The margarita mix? Oh my God.
No.
It's like they make it in 10-gallon buckets and they just pre-mix 10 gallons of margarita at one time. It's like, ugh.
It's like a frat party in that kitchen.
Yeah.
It really
literally
is.
looks like
And you know what's sad is like they used to have like nice dinnerware and like silverware. You got like a nice like white like hot plate, you know what I mean? And now everything is on a tray with a piece of parchment paper like you're at the fucking cafeteria at SeaWorld.
Gosh.
And they give you plastic because of COVID. Like COVID messed everything up. Now they don't want to wash that, like, so they just give you stuff to throw away. Everything's plastic now. It's not a fun dining experience.
Chili's. Ugh. Okay, so you took Nick to this horrible Chili's experience, which is so disappointing and not your fault. Like that's just heartbreaking. And then what'd you guys do? So your first date was in a sense a trip together. So did he stay with you?
Yeah, so he stayed with me for a few nights and we went to Universal because he had never been. I had never been. I was kind of newer to Orlando. I moved from another shitty city in Florida. And we went to Universal. It was like 3 days. It was super quick. But it was really fun. Like it was just such a fun trip.
And you guys like bonded and like there wasn't any like weirdness?
No, I mean we had been talking for like 5 weeks, like literally every day, texting every day, talking on the phone, just learning about each other. Obviously, like, you know, he knew that I was a comic. I knew what he did and just got to know each other a lot before we even kind of met up again in person. And it just was really seamless.
And
so cool.
Yeah, it is really cool because it's like such a risk to be like, hey, we've been talking for a while. You should like come out here and hang out with me.
You know what's so funny is the first like maybe few days that we were talking, he bought a ticket to Florida like within like a few days of us talking. And I was really nervous because I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he wants. What if he just wants to come and hook up and I don't know. And it was very clear early on that he was very committed and wanted to be with me, and that made me feel really good. And he had a few slip ups where he would call himself my boyfriend like over the phone like a few weeks after talking, and I was like, what was that? And he's like, never mind. And it was really cute. It was really awesome. So I wasn't nervous.
What was it about him that like made you kind of like open up that way, like be comfortable with having a guy buy a ticket and maybe sometimes call you his girlfriend / he called himself your boyfriend?
You know, he's just like such an open and honest person, and I could tell that he wasn't trying to be anything. Like, I think a lot of the times dating is really hard nowadays because there's like a facade that people put on, and especially around comedians. I mean, you guys know that, like, I think people try to be funny around comedians. They try to be cool, and he's worked in the comedy industry far longer than I have. So he's very used to being around people that are weird like us and just do, you know, have weird shit going on. But I don't know. I think he was really open and honest with me from the beginning, and I just wanted to get to know him for him without any judgment. And there were some things in my life that I needed him to know before he, you know, came to be with me. And he was very like accepting of all of those things before he even stepped foot in my apartment, you know, so it was really easy.
Do you think it works because he's not a comedian, but he's just in the industry?
Yeah, I think having someone that knows so much about comedy and the business of comedy completely changes the dynamic of the relationship, because not only does he understand the weird hours and the pressure and just the social media bullshit that you go through as a comic, but he also really encourages me to be, you know, more like out there with my comedy, or, you know, he's not the kind of guy that's like, don't talk about me on stage. Like, something will happen and he'll be like, you have to write about that. You know what I mean? So it's just really refreshing to be with someone that's so supportive and is also a creative person, because he inspires me a lot to be more creative and to be better myself. And I have so much to learn from him in terms of just like his confidence and what his work, that it works super well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like he's like a really confident guy, because it takes like a confident partner in person to be like, oh yeah, you can talk about me. I don't take it personal. It's like not about me. It won't bruise my ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
and so he's like totally at this point understanding of, hey, I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be doing festivals. I'm going to do all this stuff. He's like fully on board because he sees what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he respects the hustle.
Yeah,
100%. So do you guys work together on anything, on any projects, shows, anything like that?
We have in the past. I think now that we're living in the same city, we will a lot more.
And let's be clear, Morgan did not move to Denver to be with her boyfriend. Let's make that crystal clear.
That was not a bonus.
Yes.
I am originally from Colorado, and I lived in Florida for like 4.5 years. I followed a job out there, and then I found comedy out there. So for me, moving back was more about being in a bigger comedy scene and being in a state where, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, a state that respects women and our rights. And
yeah, just like a little bit more than Florida.
Yeah, just like, you know, not just giving out guns on the side of the road. Like, I just wanted to be in a place like that. And the fact that he lived there was a complete added bonus. So it really worked out.
I mean, Denver's a great city to move to, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I did want to clarify that. But anyway, so you guys work together on some projects. How is that? How do you guys balance it? And how do you like not get in each other's space? Because he's like not a comic. So if you're working on something, if he puts an input, how do you ever like take it personal and you're like, you don't even know what you're talking about?
Yeah, we've had some like fun, like, I guess writing sessions where, you know, he'll talk to me about like, you should say this, or maybe instead of doing this kind of joke, you should do this. And at first I think I was a little apprehensive, because obviously like when you're a comic, you're kind of, you know, you own your jokes and you want them to be good, and getting feedback can be kind of harsh sometimes. But it also was just like fun for me to see him have input at all, because he watches comedy kind of for a living. I mean, he does so much work for comedians and for clubs and does it so well that he's around a lot of really high level talented comedians. So I trust what he has to say. But it'll be interesting for sure to kind of see like over the next, you know, few months or this year where our relationship goes in terms of business. I think it's definitely easy with him. I've never felt like scared or worried about being in business together or being a part of his company, because I know that he is a very like ethical businessman and wants to, his thing is like the comics come first, you know what I mean? And the creative part comes first. He's not about like the bullshit that happens in the scene or whatever. Like he's very good at separating kind of personal from business.
I can't wait to meet Nick.
I know. He sounds so mature and healthy and like...
He is.
Yeah.
He's like 5 years older than me, which is fucking great.
Yes, Zaddy.
God.
Yes, Zaddy. Mm-mm,
the value of years of maturity.
Yeah.
He's older than we are.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
turned 33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's an old
I guess the
man.
next year I'm going to get mature,
Yeah?
probably. Hopefully.
Oh, man.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. There was another question I had and I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. Have you like since starting stand up, have you dated someone who is not a comedian or someone in the industry, and how does that compare? If you have.
Someone
if you
that's
have,
in the industry or not in the industry?
have you dated someone who is just like a normal? Since starting stand up.
I haven't really dated anyone. No, I mean, I've had like kind of flirtations or, you know, but not, I haven't been like in a relationship with someone that was not in the industry since I started stand up.
Do you think that's on purpose, or do you think that just like that just happened?
I think it just happened. I mean, I did date a comedian for a very short period of time, and you know, it was great while it lasted. It didn't end the way that I wanted it to, and it kind of wasn't super fun once it ended. But I think like, I don't know. I think when I got into stand-up, to be honest, I was so into stand-up that I wasn't really focused on dating anyone. Like I wasn't really thinking about trying to date someone, because the other thing too was like, there were times when, you know, I would like be going out and going to mics, and even my friends were like, why are you going every single night? Like they don't understand like that going to an open mic is what we have to do to practice. Yep. They think that I'm just like an attention whore and that I'm just going to a bar because I want people to laugh at me.
That is also, I mean, we are all attention whores a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have any interest in anyone, like, and it just kind of, it didn't feel right. Like it felt like I wanted to focus on my career, so to speak.
You felt like someone who wasn't in the industry or a comedian wouldn't fully understand the the grind.
So much that it was just like I just kind of let whatever happen. Like I wasn't seeking anyone. No one was really seeking me. Again, like I said, like I had a stint of a very short relationship, and it kind of just taught me like I don't really want to be with a comic. Like I love that Nick is comic adjacent because he gets it, but he's also not like, you know, doing his own shows and doing his own thing. Like he has his own business that he's very passionate about, and that's more attractive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to meet you, Nick. I'm going to give you a big old hug and a kiss.
I'm going to send this episode to him as soon as it's out.
Don't overthink it, babe.
Is he tall?
Yeah, he's like 5'11".
Oh my God.
Oh,
He's
for Aurora,
so
that's short.
than me,
Yeah, I was like, for Aurora, that's short.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
goodness.
Well, Aurora's also 7 feet.
Yeah.
Woo, let's go.
Okay.
Let's fucking go, guys.
All right. And we're back.
Did you hit your teeth on the fucking wine bottle?
Ouch.
You drunk bitch.
I hope that got recorded. I hope the audio picked up on that. Aurora's drinking, so we are clearly moving on.
Just now started.
I know. It feels like I started
Months ago.
this morning. Alrighty.
All right. Let's move on to comedy. Because you are a well-established comedian. You're traveling. You're doing a ton of
thanks.
Oh my gosh,
festivals.
Morgan is the coolest.
She
Okay,
is.
let's calm down.
Let's
not blow smoke up my ass.
She's so excited. So let's start with the basics. What festivals have you done? I know we sort of introed it, but were there any we missed? What have you done?
I did the Ladies Room Comedy Festival in New York City, the Rubber City Comedy Festival in Akron, Ohio, Big Pine Comedy Festival in San Diego.
Which was your favorite? Because that's where we met.
That's where I met these losers. And then I did the Sacktown Comedy Get Down in Sacramento. I did the Cleveland Comedy Festival in Cleveland, Ohio. And then I did the Riot Comedy Festival in Houston, Texas.
Nice.
How was the first one you said? It was a woman's one?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that one at?
That was at the Broadway Comedy Club in New York City.
How was that? I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it was like newer. It was a contest festival, and it was my very first one. I got to do 5 minutes at the Broadway Comedy Club, which was really cool. I'm not a huge fan of contest festivals. I don't do them anymore. But I think for my first one, like it was fun, and I got to bring a friend and like do the festival, and it was cool to be in New York.
That's super cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is really cool. You got to bring a friend just to like hang out with?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's cool. So you've done quite a few. So one of our listeners / watchers, viewers. Why am I not remembering nouns today?
Maybe not a watcher, yeah.
Yeah, viewer, listener, Sam Bear, who produces great shows down in Santa Barbara.
Awesome.
So she asks, festivals, are they worth it? What do you think, Morgan?
Yeah. I mean, I first answer off the bat is yes. Obviously, it depends on what your goals are. It depends on Aurora's fucking chugging this wine like there's no tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
I think like, festivals are intimidating for sure when you first start to get into them. It's kind of a lot to, spend money, submit a tape, understand like, getting there, meeting other comedians, whether it's a competition or not. There's always kind of a lot of like either pressure or camaraderie or whatever it is. So I think they're worth it. I've gotten a lot out of almost every single one I've done. I always feel like it's money well spent and it's time well spent. So yeah.
And let's clarify too. So when you say it, because not all of our listeners are in the industry. So when you say it costs money, that you're talking about submission fees. Right?
Yeah, and travel. So most festivals you have to pay anywhere from $20 to $40 to submit a tape, and then you submit your tape. It's usually 5 to 7 minutes. They review your tape. If you get in, you're in, and then you're also responsible for traveling there and lodging. Mm-hmm. There are some festivals that do have stipends for lodging, or they have discounts. A lot of them do discounts with like hotel partners. But the majority of the time, unless you're asked to headline the festival, if you're like a nationally touring comedian, usually the people who are submitted and accepted into the festival, you have to pay your way to be there.
Yeah. I mean, it does definitely cost money. So what are some of the benefits to doing festivals to make it worth that money?
I think the biggest and maybe the most obvious benefit is networking. Because when you're not from that area, you're obviously putting your name out to a completely new and different market that you haven't reached before. So, I mean, even just being here with you guys, like we met at Big Pine, and because of that, I got to then do Sacktown Comedy Get Down and do shows in Sacramento. And then, Aurora and I set up shows in the Bay. So it's nice to meet other comics that are at the same level as you, whether it's, a few years in to 10 years in, who are just working on their craft and getting to showcase in front of industry. I think the other benefit obviously is that industry part where not only are you meeting other comics, but you're meeting bookers and you're meeting people who actually have, stakes in the industry, or agents or people who are looking for up and coming comics. Yeah, I think those are two really good benefits.
Yeah, definitely.
I think those are all really good points because, when we met at Big Pine, I feel like the whole festival kind of felt like summer camp.
Oh, for sure.
Like that
was such a fun festival.
It was so much fun. Like we had the best time, but at the same time, because we were in such a good festival that had a lot of great industry, we had to manage the summer camp vibe with also being professional. Mm-hmm. And like when you go to these festivals, like you said, it's a great opportunity to network, but all of that networking means nothing if you're a piece of shit. Like if you're just like, if you're a bad hang, if you don't show up on time. So it's like, it's a really good opportunity for people to go to a festival, like take in the industry, have them see you, start building a like natural rapport and connection with these people. Mm-hmm. So that way, when you, for example, like you come out here and you're doing shows, you can stay with us because we connected and networked, but you're working with another comedian who was in industry at the festival, and now you already have that bond, and they could vouch for you for another show that's in the area.
Exactly.
And you just like build and build from there. It becomes it not only are you networking, it's like it literally creates a network of comedians.
Yeah, it's so nice. The first one I ever did was in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, but it's like I met so many cool people that have like been like, oh, hey, if you're ever in this area, do this. Oh, if you're ever here, do this. And so it's like you meet people who will hook you up.
Right, for sure.
And getting to stay with comedians when you're in a different town, or they'll go out of their way to help you with things. It's so much nicer.
Morgan, I want to hear your thoughts on this because you just started doing festivals how long ago?
A year ago.
Or maybe
a year and a half.
And it's like tremendously like helped your career, right?
Yeah.
Because of like the networking and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And just exposure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right. But I like to explain festivals to people who don't understand them in a way that's like when you're an athlete in high school and you're trying to get scouted for college, or you're an artist and you're trying to get, more exposure out there. A festival, in my opinion, is like a tournament. Yeah. It's like a chance for you to go and, compete like you started in a competition festival, or it's a chance to just showcase and just play your sport and just go out there and do your thing and meet people. And like, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
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 Nice. Great.
Was that a question? It was
like a question, but also just like I guess it's just like a point. Cause I just want to get cause you've done festivals this past year and a half, and I feel like your career has really like boosted from it. And I feel like you took advantage of the opportunities in front of you, because there's so many comedians who go to festivals and they just beat themselves into a hole. They just don't do it.
And I think we talked about this at Big Pine, is like, so a festival is anywhere from maybe like 2 to 5 days max, right? Like it's kind of a short period of time. Yeah. It's usually starts on like a Wednesday or Thursday. You go through the weekend. Sunday's like a fun closing night. You have a party. It's whatever. There are so many comics that, and this is, when I say comics, I'm talking about people that are in the festival that submitted, not the people that they bring in to headline, but like people who are like, you pay to be there. They don't go to the events that the festival sponsors, and they don't see the festival through the end. And I think there's a lot to be said about like when you pay to go somewhere, if there are industry people, or if there are, managers, or even the people that are working the club that's hosting the festival, you should be there every moment that you have. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you can't make a panel, or if they're doing something that you're like, oh, I'm really tired, and like, you can make your time. But I think if you are going to a festival and you are paying to be there, you do yourself a disservice if you don't stay all the way through and then bond with the people, because it's not all business. Even though there's a lot of business to it, you should also just be bonding with these people just to let them get to know you.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's a great point.
It's like, because if you just do the festival and do the shows with them and you're at none of the other events, it's like, then it's just like being a coworker. Yeah. Then it's just like, oh yeah, no, I know Morgan, like we've done shows together, whatever. But it's when you do that, like we went bowling, we went to the theme park. Like it's like those moments are what bonds you and make you like know the person, and not just like a coworker. It's like an actual friendship starts to build.
And I think industry, they don't like feeling like every transaction you have with them is a business transaction. Like they don't want to feel like you're just talking them to get stage time or to get something from them. They are also people, and they also want to get to know you, because if they're going to book you, they're going to have to spend a weekend with you at their club. Yeah. So they want to know that you're a nice person.
That part. Like, imagine hosting someone at your house all weekend, and they're there to clean your house, and it's and like they don't talk to you. Yeah.
Could
you imagine?
Too real.
Inside joke. Morgan's been here all freaking week and hasn't put my dresser together. I'm pissed.
She just took her dresser out of the box and put it on the living room floor and expected it to magically materialize.
Friday night I come home, I'm like, why is my dresser not put together? But it's so true, because it's like, imagine you like hire someone to fix something in your house, and then all they do is show up. They don't talk to you. They just start working on things and they leave. It's like uncomfortable and weird. Yeah. So if the booker is going to be working with you for 2-3 days out of the week, they want to know that they feel comfortable. If something goes wrong, they can text you or call you. They can they can work with you, like, to make the show great.
I think for me, yeah, when I first started comedy, I was like, oh my God, it has to be so serious. And if I'm just funny, it won't matter how I am with the bookers. Like they're just a business and they're just booking the funniest person. It's like, no, there's so much more to it. It's you have to be somebody they want to work with. And you have to treat them like a person. Like there's a booker, as soon as I stopped responding like super seriously and was just like making fun of him when he would hit me up for shows, like that's when the relationship changed and I started getting booked for more shows, because it wasn't like, hey, Drew, can you do a show? And then me be like, yes, please. It was like, oh, really? You're going to ask me for that weekend? And like tease them. It's changed the whole game. So that's, I love it.
I think that's really good, Morgan. Thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Yeah.
It's a good insight, honestly, because I've also been to festivals where I've heard comics go, well, this is lame. Like none of the industry is talking to me. And or after the festival, they'll be like, I didn't get anything out of that festival. And it was a lame festival and it was a waste of my time. And I'm like, well, then what did you do during the festival?
There are festivals that you have to be aware of. There are festivals that...
And let's talk about that.
There are festivals that are money grabs. There are festivals that people put on in their hometown because they're on a power trip. And those festivals you probably won't hear about unless you stumble upon them. They're not like well known. A lot of the time, I've submitted to a few festivals where, you get in and then you look at the schedule and you realize that they need you more than you need them. And they're just bringing in a bunch of comedians because they're trying to make money off of having comedians in a town that you've never heard of. And like... Yep. Comedy is for everyone. Everyone deserves to laugh and have a good time. But if it's not worth your time, then don't do it. It's okay to say no, even after you've spent money to submit. I've said no to a few festivals now after I kind of realized, like, you know
both
what?
did. You both did earlier this year. I remember.
Yeah,
and thank goodness you guys talked about it, because that's part of the network is like you hear about a festival. Luckily, there's networks of comedians. Hey, have you heard about this? What's your opinion on it? And you guys can discuss and,
Right. Yeah, it's a bummer, but it happens, and there are a lot of really well-intentioned people out there that, festivals are a lot. Putting on a festival is incredibly stressful. It's incredibly expensive. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people to think about. So sometimes you can't blame the organizers for not being able to pull off something great. But again, if it's not worth your time, you don't have to feel guilty about not going.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question then would be, when you're first starting out in stand-up, how do you determine what festivals are worth your time and money and what aren't?
That's a good question.
And I'll explain a little bit for our listeners. In the industry, there are different levels of festivals, which we can talk about on a different episode and get really into it. But there's top tier festivals, which would be like Netflix is a joke, right? Most of the time you have to be invited. That's like TV sponsored. Or JFL, Just for Laughs in Montreal, is the number one comedy festival in the world. It is very difficult to get into. Then there are festivals that are more local, like Morgan was talking about. We would call those maybe D-level festivals. D-level festivals. And now you're a new comedian and you're wanting to get your name out there and you want to start building a network and meeting other comedians. How do you determine, as yourself, or you can give advice, what festival is the best one to apply to? How can you tell?
Yeah. When I first started applying, I just applied willy-nilly. To be honest, like when you're starting out, like that's kind of what you have to do. I think like don't set expectations for yourself that you're going to be getting into like these crazy big festivals that only accept 20 comedians. Like it's again like comedy's for everyone. Like it's okay to do the little local rinky-dink festivals. Like those sometimes are the most fun. Obviously, like if it's a ripoff, don't do it. But I just started applying. I just started seeing lists of comedy festivals, and I would look at like the city it's in. And if it was in a city that I felt like, okay, it's big enough, they must have, at least a comedy scene, I would just apply. Obviously, I got rejected from a ton. I still get rejected. I've gotten rejected from more festivals this year than I did ever because I'm applying to more. But the other thing I do is I look at their website, and something that's a red flag to me, people might disagree with this, but something that's a red flag to me is if a comedy festival just has the submission form and then like nothing else. And they don't tell you what you're going to get out of it. They don't tell you any of the industry that'll be there. They don't tell you what kinds of shows it is, because that to me feels like they need you more than you need them. I love the festivals that have a really well built out website where they have archives of, you can see the past headliners, the past photos, the past winners of Best of Fest, you know, past schedules. And you can kind of get a sense of like, okay, if I submit, how much stage time am I going to be getting? I'm not a fan of comedy festivals that say it's a festival and then they give you 1 5-minute set and they kind of just expect you to be happy with that. I get that there are a lot of festivals like that. It's just not something that I would like to do, because if I'm going to spend my money to travel to your city, I want to know like what potential opportunities might I have? If there is industry there, who are they representing and what can I do with that? I think sometimes that's forgotten a lot, because there are a lot of festival organizers that they're like, oh, if I'm putting you on a festival, you should just be grateful that you're on it. And I get that. I mean, depending on who you are, I'm sure there are some festivals that are so big that like, yeah, they don't need to tell you what they're doing, because just getting in is an honor at all. But the majority of them are not like that. Yeah. So I think looking at their website and also word of mouth, now that I'm in the circuit a little more, there are some comics I know that do have a lot of festival credits, and I will ask them, hey, I saw you did this last year. Was it worth it? Should I go? They're like, yes, no, whatever. And then I go off that.
That's cool.
I love that answer.
Yeah, I've seen some festivals where you like look at it and you see like the lineups and you're like, okay, I've never heard of any of these people and I've been getting around. Like, is this just a bunch of people booking their friends and 2 or 3 out of towners? And I'm like, skip that one.
And there's also some festivals that like they just accept everyone that submits, which like I think that I don't know if you could call that a festival, because then what happens is you're just flooding the scene with so many out of town comics who are expecting to get this stage time and have fun. And then how are you going to fill a room when you have 12 comedians on every show, 7 shows for 7 nights? You know what I mean? It's just like an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, definitely. It's tough. I don't envy producers, because like they talk about it when people are like, I have to pay even if I don't get accepted. It's like, yeah, because they're going to be working like 300 hours to put together a festival and make $1 an hour, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like they're not making much money unless they know what they're doing.
The good comedy producers, they put the money from the submissions towards the festival and towards the actual comics instead of pocketing it.
Yeah.
I think it's really important what you said, like the red flags of looking at festivals is the website. There's so much information that you can gather from the website, even if you're first starting out and you're not sure and you don't really have the network or resources of other comedians to like check in with. Read the website and see who's been in it, and have you seen any of these comics? If you're new and you are looking at the website and there are past comics that you've seen or that you don't know on the website, like find them on Instagram and send them a DM. Like, just reach out and be like, hey, I'm new. I'm thinking of applying to this, and you don't know me, but
comics love to talk about themselves. I mean, look at us right now. Yeah. Like comics will, if you ask them, hey, what was your experience? They will have no problem telling you the truth, because they have nothing to lose.
No. Absolutely not. And if they're just spewing facts, I did one show. It was 5 minutes, and there's 2 people in the audience. They're not talking shit. They're telling you facts,
right? Yeah.
You know, so it's never like, don't ever be afraid to just read the website and then reach out to comedians. You can use that in any part of the industry when it comes to festivals or agencies or shows or whatever. You know, use resources, because we love to talk, and we love to talk about ourselves, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, we do. And part of the application process is the submission tape. So first off, I want to ask you, have you been using just the same tape this whole time, or are you like constantly updating it?
I try to update it as much as possible. So when I first submitted a tape to my first festival, I used a cell phone video that was taken of me at a show I did at a Margaritaville in Orlando, Florida. And it was a 5-minute guest set, and I did really well. And it was a room of 200 old ass people. So I was killing it, and it was really good. And I got into the Ladies Room Festival, And then at the ladies' room, they had a brilliant videographer, and I had a really good set. And so he filmed, that was my first ever like 4K video of me doing stand-up.
Ooh.
So then
Cool.
because I did that festival, I got another 5-minute tape. And then the background, the stage says Broadway Comedy Club, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, so then I used that tape. And then last year, I performed in Colorado and I had a really good set. And so I started using that tape. So whenever I get a better tape, I try to use that. I try to be as objective as possible. And I actually had this about a month ago. One of my friends who is in Atlanta, she's a brilliant comedian. She runs a comedy festival in Atlanta, and she also runs her own like comedy production company and has a few shows. And I said to her, like, I'm using this tape. I don't know if I like it anymore. I can't tell if it's good enough because I'm getting rejected from a lot of festivals. So I sent her that tape, and I sent her another tape that I was potentially using, and then another tape. And I was like, I don't know which one's better. I can't tell, like, because I watch my stand-up all the time. I'm like, I don't know. And so she came back with really good advice. She's like, don't do crowd work. Use this one because you have a bigger pop here. I like this one at the beginning. I like this one at the end. And, like, she was able to give me some advice. So the short answer is yes, constantly update your tape. Never submit something that's over a year old. Like, bookers, if you're submitting something that's a year old, that's a booker's way of knowing that, like, you haven't improved in a year.
Like, what have you done in a year? That's how, like, think about that. You're watching thousands of videos and you're seeing as someone put in a video, they send you an unlisted YouTube video link and it's from 2021. And you're like, what have you done in the past 2 years, my guy? What's going on?
And I remember early on when I was first applying, it was like, well, I just don't get put on good shows with good crowds. So, like, I'm going to use this old video. It's like, okay, well, then that means I'm not a consistent comedian who can get that video each time, or like I'm not good enough to get booked on good shows. So it's like, I remember early on being so mad that I just used the same tape for like 2 years because I was like, it's the only good crowd I ever had. Like, I was so mad, but I kept using it. I'm like, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that's a giant red flag.
What I'm hearing a lot, Morgan, too, is that you are really utilizing your resources. Like, as a comic who's coming in and trying to put their name out there, you have never, from my perspective, you've never seemed afraid to reach out for help and to admit to yourself, like, I don't understand this. I'm going to ask someone who I think would help me. And you're constantly getting new information. You are taking that information, you are deciding what's best for you, and you are moving forward and getting better. And there are so many comedians who do not do that. And then they sit at home and they go, why am I not getting into this festival? I never get booked. It's the industry. It's not me. And it's like, it's just really cool for you to have you sit here and tell us these things and prove to everyone that's listening and watching, hopefully, that it takes work, and you have to admit when you do not understand something and then use your resources.
Well, and no one's like faulting you for that. I think comedy is a really fun industry because so many of us come from different backgrounds. I mean, how many comedians do you know that like have a random day job that you're like, wow, I never would have pegged that on you? But like, people have, you know, resources and understanding that you may not. So especially when it comes to festivals, like when I first went to my first one, I didn't know how to act. I didn't know what I needed to do. And then when I went to my second one, I felt so much more equipped because it was like, okay, no, I'm here. I want to introduce myself to industry. I'm going to go out with everyone. I'm going to get to know everyone. I'm going to ask them their advice. I'm going to, you know, and like once you do that enough, I think people recognize that if you're hungry for it, they want to reward those people more. Because how many times have you met a comic that's really funny, but they're so fucking arrogant, and you're like, oh, I don't want to work with you because you know how good you are, which is great. Be confident, but then they have no desire to get better or to even, you know what I mean? And they think they have all the answers. There's nothing worse than working with someone like that. So it's like, you'd rather work with someone who's maybe not as funny or still working on their craft, but they're constantly asking questions, taking notes, writing, going to things like that's
and
way
industry
better.
Notices that. And even if you aren't ready for that part of the industry yet, they will never forget that you asked them questions because people love to talk about themselves. It's the truth.
Yeah.
So if you go to industry and you're like, hey, I've heard a lot of great things about your club. I'm really happy I got on this festival and I got to talk to you. What are you looking for at your club? And you have them start talking about their club and the experience there in the audience. They will never forget that.
Yeah.
So even if they watch your set and they're like, she's not really ready yet, or they're not really ready yet, they're going to remember you, and next year they're going to see you grow and then be like, they were interested in my club and they got better. I can see the work they put in.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them showing interest. I'm going to give them a shot. You never know. And it's just being professional and putting in the effort.
Yeah, they're kind of investing in us. Like, we're stocks, and like they see a stock that's been the same price for 10 years, or they see a stock that's jumping up. They're like, I want to be the first one to invest. Like,
Right, exactly.
I see Morgan's putting in the work. Like, I want her to headline my club. I want her to film her special at my club. Like, I'm going to be the first one in, because like they want to be the one to discover you. So if you show you're interested.
If you don't get something in the first festival that you do, it's not like game over. It's just you're planting seeds. The whole job is just planting seeds. It's a constant audition.
Also, if you submit to enough festivals, festival producers talk to each other.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times like I've had people be like, oh, I know you because you submitted and I reviewed the tapes. I know you didn't get in, but you're really funny. I hope you submit again. You know, or like even like people who are like adjacent to the festival, who they're friends with the producer, or that you never know who's like looking at those tapes. So there could be people that really love your tape, and even though you didn't get into the festival, you still stick out in their mind, and they're like, oh, I want them to be here in the future.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and rejection also is literally never going to end. So get used to being rejected in comedy, because it's literally never going to end.
That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to chug.
Chug. Just do like one big chug. Come on, do something.
Like perfect transition music to you going,
That was
gross.
It's gross, dude. It's not good wine. Sorry if you saw the label.
We're not sponsored by them.
It's honestly not that bad of wine. It's actually pretty smooth.
Okay. He was being dramatic.
You guys, I feel more sober now.
Good.
So
that is, I'm better with a little alcohol in me.
I really do get better. I get better at beer pong, axe throwing, not stand up though. No, I need to be sober for stand up. Love making.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Morgan's like, I'm stuck in between you guys.
Cornered in this closet.
Cornered in the closet.
Okay, Morgan, I am so curious. I feel like, I already know the answer kind of, but what is a fun festival moment that you've had? Story with industry, or like best friends, or me?
I'll give you
whatever.
two. I'll give you two, because obviously you know the first one. So
tell me
last year when I met you and Sydney and Chelsea at Big Pine, you guys took me to my first gay bar after I think we did like a late show. Didn't we do we did a show, a really fun show at like PB Backyard or something really random. It was a backyard. I don't know. It was cool. And we went there.
It was a night that we had. They did an industry night at a show at it was like a bar.
Yeah,
it was a bar and restaurant, and then next to it was like this kind of covered outdoor space.
It was really cool.
And all four of us were standing outside, and we're like, "Are you guys like over talking to industry?"
we were so like we had been so like kind of businessed out that day. Like it was a whole day of like networking and talking and performing, and it was like, you know what, let's go let loose a little bit. So yeah, we went to a gay bar, and God, so much happened. We took so many lemon drop shots. I cannot take lemon drop shots anymore. And then I got rejected by a girl, which was really fun. And then Chelsea met the love of her life, or she didn't meet him. They were already friends, and they just, decided to hanky panky. And then
I was drunk and talking to them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, have you guys like kissed and hooked up?" And they're like, "No, we're just friends." And I was like, "Oh, you guys kind of seem like you're in love."
Now they're like in love. Amazing. And then you got your fupa smacked. by a masculine Les, which was great because I felt like that really set the tone for our friendship.
It was so fun.
But I think that was a really fun moment because like that was my first time meeting you guys. Like I'd only known you a few days, and it made me feel so much more at ease in the festival because I was like, okay, these girls are my friends. Like these people are my friends. It's not like, you know, we're all comics secretly competing with one another. It was like, no, this is like friend time. And then honestly, I think another really fun moment for me was maybe when I was at this past festival, the Riot Comedy Festival in Houston. I got to go to brunch with one of the headliners of the festival and then 2 other comics that were in the festival. And they were all from different places. They were all from LA, but they were all talking about like touring different places. And I did exactly what you said, is I just asked them a million questions, and it was my idea to go to brunch. I was like, hey, you know what? I want to, you know, ask you guys some questions. Like, can I take you to brunch? Like, can we go do this? And they were super fine. And we went to go eat and just like talked about comedy and about touring. And I got to know a little bit more about like their stomping grounds. And I think that to me made the festival worth it because I was like, okay, I got out of my comfort zone and I asked them to go like hang out with me, and it didn't feel awkward.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was going to say I love that. And that's just a really good way to always approach comedy. You see a headliner or you see someone in the industry doing something that you want to do, and you want to get information from them because you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to grind. What about, not only do people love talking about themselves, they love to eat.
Yeah.
You know, hey, can I take you out for coffee? Hey, can I buy you lunch? I'd love to pick your brain about XYZ because I want to grow and I want to learn. 99.9% of the time, people are going to say, yes. Yeah, I'd love to eat food and talk about myself.
Yep.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
You know? It's so smart. You're so smart.
Oh my God, no.
No, those are both really good experiences because one is just like fun. I'm very happy that night happened as well in San Diego. I feel like it totally bonded us. Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way that it like, because Chelsea, Sydney, and I were all friends before that festival. So bringing you into it was really nice to show you like, hey, there's women in comedy that are like not competing, and we all lift each other up, and it's really fun, and you should come hang out.
Can I add another moment?
Yes, please.
So last year, I did this comedy festival, and at the very end of it, I was carpooling with one of the other comedians in the festival, and she was driving really fast and laundry detergent spilled all over the back of her car. And she goes, does it smell really good in here all of a sudden? That comedian was Aurora Singh, everyone.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Look,
I remember when you pulled up and it was just dripping out the back.
Put uncapped laundry detergent in the back of her car, and she's like, oh, this is heavy, it won't spill over. Aurora drives like Paul Walker. Like she literally drives like a bat out of hell. So we pull up to the comedy club, and she has to rinse her entire back mat of her car in front of the comedy club with like pitchers of water, and we're asking the bar staff for towels.
The owner of the club is looking at me like just shaking her head like, are you serious, Aurora? Like, this is my club. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I even remember telling you, like, we got to put, like, saran wrap or something over this. Like, it can't just be uncapped. You're like, no, it's fine. I was like, no, it's not.
And if you're asking why she brought it to the comedy club, it was because there was a lip sync battle, and Drew decided to do Britney Spears Toxic, and he needed laundry detergent because laundry detergent is toxic.
Yep. I was pretending to be laundry and the toxic. I was going to do Tide Pods, but I didn't want to have to go buy Tide Pods.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just use Tide and then pretend to pour it on myself. And then, Aurora actually poured it everywhere. So
it's so fun. Festivals are so fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is a summer camp. Like you literally get to go hang out with a bunch of like-minded people. Well, I mean, mostly like-minded people who are working hard, and then we just have fun on the off time. Like the stage is the reward. It's the best part of the festival. We get to perform and make people laugh. But then afterwards, yes, we get to make all these fun memories, or you get resources like you know, talking to a headliner and putting yourself out there and saying, can I take you to lunch? I want to talk to you, you know?
Yep.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm so happy that you were on to talk to us about festivals, because I don't know anybody else who has taken advantage of festivals like you have. I didn't do it in the beginning. I just applied willy-nilly to everything. I was like, I'm gonna get into JFL.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then when going to festivals, I didn't I obviously did something right, because I'm like I've obviously progressed in my career, but I don't think I was as focused and streamlined as you have been. And I really admire that. And I think our listeners need to hear that you don't need to be in stand up for 10 years to start taking advantage of festivals. You can be, not that you're like a year in, obviously, but like you can be a little bit newer to festivals, treat this shit like a business and go. Yeah. Killing it, Morgan.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sips her wine.
Finish it. It.
You're such a pussy.
Used to be fun.
I know.
You used to be fun.
This is not the hole in San Diego. We pace here.
All right. So now it's time. It's time for a game.
I think I'm starting to feel the wine a little.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
It's time for our favorite game. Pocketed punchlines.
It's pocketed punchlines. It's pocketed punchlines. It's pocketed punchlines. Yeah.
Oh, my microphone is falling. Oh shit.
Oh no.
I can hold it. I'll hold it.
It's pocketed punchlines, and the microphone is falling, and let's get into it.
The props are falling apart. So something we think is hilarious is how many notes comedians have in their phones with
it's atrocious.
Jokes that maybe never came to life, and just silly ideas that we just wonder. With every comedian we have on the podcast, what is a note in your notes that you want to share with us? And maybe
that
even
want to share?
Well, if you don't want to share, I think that makes it better.
Even better, yeah. Anything that you didn't finish, maybe we can help you finish it. Or if you want to go to and be like, what was I thinking?
Okay, so this is stamped September 30th, 2020.
That's exactly what I do. I read the date and time.
Okay, so this says... it says, I'm Italian by ejaculation. You know how in dogs, when they have sex, they absorb some of the genes of the other breed for a couple cycles? That's how I'm Italian. Kayla, can I explain this?
Please. Yeah, no, just leave it there.
No, you know what? Thank you so much for listening and watching.
This is verbatim what I heard a woman say in a bar.
So this wasn't your thought. This was you heard a woman saying this in the bar.
And I wrote it down because I was like, that is the most insane thing that I've ever, because I was on stage at an open mic and I said something about being Italian. And then she comes up to me and she goes, I'm Italian by ejaculation. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, my husband's Italian and he gave me his children. So I absorbed some of the DNA, And I was like, I don't think how that's work. And she's like, no, you know how when dogs have sex and then they absorb. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Dolores?
Dolores.
This was Florida, obviously. Right?
Yeah, this was Florida. This was another line that I wrote. Okay. Florida is the only state where you can pass someone on the highway, see an old man with an oxygen tank is driving the car and not think you're in an episode of The Walking Dead. And then this last one says, I saw a meme the other day that said men aren't trash. Your taste in men is trash. I'm no raccoon, but let me say dating in this generation's like dumpster diving.
That's good.
That one. Are you going to bring that one back?
Maybe
Have you?
I will. I don't know.
I like the dumpster diving.
Yeah.
I like the dumpster diving. I need some clarification on the ejaculation bit. I need some more explanation on it.
I've talked about it at an open mic, but more of like a, hey guys, you want to hear something insane that I heard? And I've never fleshed it out because I just think it's so absurd. Like it doesn't even, I don't even want to talk about it because it makes me cringe. You know what I mean? Like this lady was being so dead serious with me. And like she was a little tipsy, but she wasn't like a horribly drunk. You know what I mean?
She was like me right now.
Yeah, she was like level 1 Aurora, and like she literally was like, yeah, my husband came inside of me and he's Italian, so I must have a little bit of Italian in me. I'm like, bitch, sperm is organic. It breaks down. It's not like you shoved styrofoam in your pussy and it's just sitting there until the end of days. You know what I mean? Like, you can't absorb that.
I used to think it went reverse back up the body. Like, if,
what do you mean?
Like,
what do you mean?
If
Explain women's anatomy to me.
I thought if sperm went into a woman, it swam all the way up, like through her body into her stomach.
Oh, you thought it was like all connected through
I
her
thought it was all
canal or
connected,
something?
yeah.
Can you imagine if our stomachs were connected to our uteruses?
I would vomit. I would have
Like,
vomited so much
I didn't
more
know
in
there
my
were
college days.
I didn't know like there was a difference between the pee hole and the V hole. Like,
To be fair, I didn't either until like my sophomore year of college.
okay, so yeah, I was.
You're such a liar.
I'm not a liar.
She's
And
not.
also I was a science major and I was pre-med.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyways,
She could have operated on you.
I do think that so that is a story that you can use later, maybe in a different joke, as to point out the ridiculousness of something else in the future. It's like
it's a very like it's
can't,
it's a
do
very
it on
like
its own.
anecdotal type of like line. It's not really a joke in and of itself. It's more of like if I'm doing a bit about like how stupid people are or how stupid Floridians are. Sorry, it's true. Like, that's what I would bring up. I'd be like, Floridians are so stupid that this is a verbatim conversation I had in a bar. And then I would talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because I think it's very funny. I think it's a funny story, but it can't stand alone.
Yeah.
It would just seem out of context.
Right.
It would.
The dating, the trash dating, though.
That's like the start of a long bit, I think.
So I used to have a bit where I talked about how, like, I love dating in Florida because it's just so adventurous. You know what I mean? It's like so exciting. It's like picking through the trash. You never know what you're going to find. And I stopped doing it because, I met my boyfriend, so I don't do a lot of my jokes now about being single and
Nick,
dating.
I can't wait to meet you.
I
Nick
know, my
isn't
God.
trash. That's what I'm hearing. He's not trash.
He's like compost. You know what I mean? He's the good shit.
He's saving the planet.
Yeah, I chop him up and I put him in my garden whenever I can. Yeah, those are my... Should I do more? Do you want me to do more? What's the game? I don't know. Am I supposed to just make an ass of myself?
No, I mean,
No.
If you find another one that you really want to share, I'm open to one more.
I have so many stupid ones in here because a lot of them are, you know how you just like write stuff down?
Yeah, you just write premises. Let's do one more.
Yeah.
Let's do one
I'm
more.
down for
I
one
like
more.
them. But I do want you to maybe bring the trash part in, the dumpster diving, because I feel like you're writing more about dating before Nick, and I think that would be either a good tag or a good like add-on expansion of what you're already talking about.
Me, I'm sort of like, I just want to see how the idiots on TikTok react to it. Like, I'm not trash. I'm gonna say women aren't funny. I'm not trash. You're calling me trash. I'm not. It's like, dude, you're trash.
If you identified with me calling you trash, then you are trash.
Exactly.
Sorry, Tanner. Okay.
Yep.
This is another note I wrote from December 5th, 2020. Why do restaurants advertise with the animals that you eat at the restaurant? Like Mr. and Mrs. Crab are advertising to eat them. Like, what if Tony the Tiger was advertising Tiger Bites instead of Frosted Flakes? Like, they're great, but I miss my kids.
I love that. I think that's
I like
a
it.
really good bit to do if you're starting to write more clean.
Yeah.
That's so cute, and that would translate to so many different audiences.
But isn't it weird? Like, I always thought it was weird that, like, you know how, like, the cows at Chick-fil-A are always like, eat more chicken so that you don't eat them?
Yep.
Like, I think
That
that's
makes
such
sense.
a fucking weird thing to do. Or,
You
like,
think it's weird though? I think it's
Yeah.
smart. I think it's
oh,
smart.
it's super smart.
I think it's smart that they have cows being
but
like,
it's so
don't.
uncomfortable. Or, like, do you ever, like, you go to a chicken restaurant and everything is, like, themed like a chicken and everything looks like a chicken and it's like, I know what chicken look like. I don't want to see their face
Yeah.
before I eat a chicken nugget. Like I don't want to see your cute little
Yeah.
fucking gobbly beak.
Like the whole
before
point.
I shove you in my mouth.
It's like, here's our mascot that you are here because you love them. Now eat what they actually are.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
no.
It's very weird.
I think expand on it. I think these are good expansion jokes. I think they're good. I think you should bring them back. Absolutely.
Girl, bring them
Bring
back.
them back. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
We finished pocketed
Let's just go.
punchlines. Let's wrap this baby up. Just like a festival, we've had some fun. We've had some laughs. We are going to continue to know each other and be friends and network because this is like a festival. That's been this episode of the Love and Comedy Podcast.
Festival themed.
Festival themed.
With Morgan Gallo.
What?
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I'm obsessed with you being here. I wish that you lived in Sacramento. I'm so happy that you moved to Denver because now you're closer.
Yeah, girl.
And we can like
Yeah,
do
girl.
direct flight.
Maybe we can even do flights and just like hang out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be weird?
You put her on the spot there.
No, I mean,
I'm
to not do comedy. Like I don't even
just
like,
hang
have
out.
a
Fun. Yeah, for sure.
It would be super fun, but it would also be like a commitment, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please subscribe, share, follow, comment, and thumbs up the episode. And if you can rate the podcast on whatever you're listening to, please do that. It helps us out a lot. We release episodes every Thursday. So, follow us on all the socials, the Love and Comedy Podcast, for updates on all that good stuff. I'm doing a really good job right now.
You're crushing it.
I've been Aurora Singh. Follow me on all the socials, Aurora Singh Comedy. And oh wait, Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, I was ready. I was like, we need to make sure people know where they can find you, Morgan.
My name is Morgan Gallo. You can find me at Morgan Gallo Comedy on all social media platforms. Also follow my podcast, Let's Fight About It Pod. I'm hopefully going to get Drew and Aurora on sometime soon. So I'm really excited to be here. And morgangallocomedy.com. I'll be on tour this fall. I'll be doing some cool tapings this year. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the taping's at, or is it NDA? Can you not?
No, I can tell you the first one. I'm doing a taping with OnlyFans in a few weeks.
Woo.
I'm doing an episode of their LMAOF. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be on OFTV. They are amazing. They're putting more stand-up on their platform, so I'll be a part of the Denver episode of LMAOF on OFTV. So
that's so
check it
cool.
out.
It's so cool. Can't wait. Check her out, please. I mean, she's the best.
Yeah. And then I've been your other host, Drew Schaefer, at Drew Schaefer Comedy on all the socials. And that's been our show. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for being here, Morgan. And we'll see you guys next time.